Okay. So last week we what did we do last week? We did go through one group of topics which were about the description of people. Right?
Right.
Nice. Well, we're gonna press on. And well, at this point, I think that you have already worked out what the procedure of lessons like this is gonna be. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask you a few questions at the beginning, and you do your best to survive, my interrogation, just as you do in the examination room. I'm gonna make some notes with regard to your answers, and we're gonna go through some sample responses. I think that
Mhm.
there are always some points to these sample answers. It's just that I can't really figure out what the main points are for the sample answers of today's lesson. But okay, today we're going to move on to places. And the first
Places.
legendary topic is hometown. Now, where do you come from?
Well, I come from what was formerly known as Taiping City, but now it's just a small word in the Hưng province. And
Is there
it is
anything that you would like to change about your hometown?
well, actually not. I think it is on the right track right now. Everything is developing quite smoothly, and it still has the integrity of what it used to be.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that it is still mainly agricultural, although some other sectors such as industrial sectors, educational sectors, they are still improving, but it's
Hmm,
still quite agricultural, which I believe that that is uh, the identity of my hometown.
thank you. Would you recommend other people to come and live in your hometown?
I mean, if I were a local here, I mean, I'm just a local. I would definitely recommend people to come and live in my hometown, but they may feel really bored here because there's no tourism at all. But
Hmm.
I think to live here is still a good thing because of the advances in education and in terms of employment as well.
Hmm. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about quiet places. Is your area quiet?
I would definitely say yes. There's not much traffic here at all, and although my hometown is drawing much more attention from industries, it is still in its developing state, and so there's not much industrial facilities or industrial areas at all. So it means that there are not many containers or semi trucks moving on the roads, which I think
Thank you.
yeah.
Let's move on. Do you prefer to study or work in a quiet or noisy place?
I would definitely choose a quiet place to revise my lessons because I cannot stand being interrupted by noises from normally other people, but also the traffic.
Hmm. Do you prefer to go to quiet or crowded areas in the evening?
Well, I prefer the former. I mean, I'm an introvert, and I just want to spend my leisure time at night by myself, so that I can focus on studying. And if I want to be to hype up my atmosphere a little bit, I would just turn on some music to in order to make the atmosphere more like uh, hype, hyping a little bit, and it's
Thank
also
you.
an up. Yeah,
Do you think that Vietnamese people enjoy living in noisy areas?
well, it depends on. I think it depends on the personality of people. Those who are introverts will definitely prefer living in crowded areas where they can socialize and they can immerse themselves in the noises and the hype of these areas. But for
Thank you.
those, yeah,
In the next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic. You have 1 minute to make some notes, and then you can speak about the topic between 1 and 2 minutes. Is that clear?
yeah, okay.
Now, it's in the chat box because I need to make some notes. But for the time being, I want to show you the full screen.
Mhm.
I'd like you to describe the home of someone you know. 1 minute. Thank you. Remember, you can speak about this topic between 1 and 2 minutes, and don't worry if I stop you. You should start speaking now.
Well, I would like to describe the home of my uncles my uncle who now resides in Halong City in Quang province. And as far as I remember, the home is tucked in it's tucked on a quiet street uh in the city, and it's just about um I would say 10 minutes walk from the noisiest and the most crowded area of the of Halong City. And I would describe it as a really cozy and sunlit cottage with a weathered white clapboard. And what sticks in my mind is the bright blue front door. And uh, the house also features a yard, which includes a lot of plants and a really shady big tree and wooden terrace with the climbing ivy. And the owner of the house is my uncle, and is rather well known in the industry for being rather rich. Although recently his business is going through thick and thin. And the reason I really like this home is that it suits my uncle's rather perfectly. I mean, it matches his warm, welcoming personality with cozy spaces and some personal touches, such as the fig trees and the bright blue door. If I were, if I had a chance, I would
Thank
definitely.
you. Thank you. Well then, do you often visit this place?
Well, not really, because I don't tend to travel to Halong City quite much. I only
Thank you.
visit it about one or twice a year. Mhm.
Thank you. In the next part of the test, I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 general questions related to what you have been talking about. Let's first consider different types of homes. What kinds of home are popular in Vietnam?
Well, it depends on the regions. In mega cities, apartment is the most popular choice due to the limited spaces that people have in the cities. However, in rural areas, cottages are uh, the most popular one.
And why?
Well, I mean, they have much more lands to build their homes on, to build their houses, and and in these areas, taller houses are often avoided due to the fact that people are afraid of being struck by lightning during stormy weather.
Now, let's consider living in, an apartment. What are the advantages of living in an apartment?
Well, the main advantage, I believe that there are two main advantages of living in an apartment. The first is that you will not be worried about flooding. I mean, if a place is flooded, like those who live here on the ground, they may face flooding during the heavy rain. But if you live in an apartment, you are in a much higher position, and you will not be afraid of flooding. And the second benefit is that um you will have to worry about noises. I mean, in a higher position, you will not hear as.
Thank you. Well then, how about noises from the neighbors?
I mean, the noises from neighbors can be resolved if you manage to negotiate with them, and
Mm,
if even if these neighbors are not negotiable, you can still refer to the local administrators, or even call the police if if the situation is worsening. Okay.
mm. Let's move on. Let's talk about housing prices. In your opinion, what are the factors that can influence property prices?
I mean, the first one is people's income. Uh,
Mm,
I mean, nowadays, people are having a higher income compared to the past, and so in order to everything will rise in terms of price. I mean, the price of properties, even estate properties, or like even some smallest goods will rise. And
Thank you.
another,
But then, do you
yeah,
think that the location of a place can have an impact on its price?
I think yes. As far I remember, those who are in the corner of this intersect in the corners at the corners in of intersections will have a much higher price than those who are located in a small alley.
And why is that?
I mean they often refer to the benefits of living like nearby a road compared to the alley. I mean, they feel much more convenience traveling and getting access to facilities when they live near a road, and
Mm,
especially near an intersection,
thank
because
you.
it's really good for their business. Mhm.
Thank you. Let's talk about home ownership. Do you think that the government should limit the number of houses and apartments that people own?
Uh, I think I think definitely yes, because if one person owns too many homes, it will be a waste. Uh, one person cannot live simultaneously reside in two or three homes at once, and these
Thank you. Well
are
then,
unused homes.
thank you. Then why do, many people buy lots of houses and apartments?
I think they are making use of the inflation problem. I mean, the prices of house will just go up and up, as evidenced in the recent years in Vietnam. And so many people they consider this as a kind of properties that will generate profits for them in the future. And
Thank you.
yeah.
That's the end of the speaking test. Okay, let me send you the file. Should hop on it. I think that I have, well, give me 1 second.
I
Gonna
got
make some
this.
adjustments with regard to the privacy settings. All right, you should be able to view the file now. Hmm,
I got it.
okay. One question. how difficult do you think these topics were?
I would say in terms of part two, I think it's the
Mm.
most difficult because I don't have many uh I don't have any sorry, I don't have many relatives who lives in a really special area. So it was quite difficult for me to like remember all the details. I mean, I try my best to remember to write down the details about the house that I intended to describe. Um, and yeah, and for part three, I think the topic about the advantages of living in an apartment was the most difficult for me because I was just thought of about the noise. I just refer back to the noise question that I answered in part one. And yeah,
Okay. Well, um, how should I say this? I think that your performance was average. It was good. I mean, you were clearly capable of speaking English, but due to the fact that you're the only student in today's lesson, well, I think that you're gonna get, I guess, the benefit of like one-on-one tutelage, but that also comes at a price, which is the fact that I'm definitely gonna shred you to pieces. So overall, I thought that I mean, you put on the type of performance um, that that was characteristic of people of your particular band score. In other words, there was no improvement whatsoever. How should I say this? Like, I feel like you have the potential to go beyond, the band score that you got, but for some reason, I don't think that you have been like practicing in the right way, or maybe you haven't been practicing at all. But the bottom line is that um, 1 week has passed, and I can't notice any, improvements in your performance. I also don't recall any like familiar details. Maybe it's because of the, nature of the topics, but I don't think that you have like a go-to phrase or a go-to idea or anything of that nature. So when I listened to you, I thought that you were, very authentic and organic, which was great. But at the same time, your accuracy was all over the place, especially in part three. It was horrendous. I actually thought that you completely bombed part three. Your part two performance was fine, nothing exquisite, but was fine. I also didn't care that much about like the description of the house, although I concede that, it's one of the main objectives when you see this topic. It's just that I didn't care about. I know that well, I knew that you were on topic, and your description of your uncle's house was perfectly sensible, right? There were a couple of details that didn't seem to be that accurate for me, but overall, I had no doubt in my mind that you were on topic. You actually failed, in my opinion, in part three because your control was all over the place. Your accuracy was thrown out the window. You could not like settle with just one idea and focus on like delivering, that idea the best way that you know how to. So you were going back and forth, and by going back and forth, like there were lots of times when you made like errors in word choices and grammar. So, I mean, it's something that you need to get to grips with. And I don't think that you're able to turn over a new leaf in, the blink of an eye. But I would say it's pretty disappointing. That's all. Not that I
mhm.
expected more from you, but I do think that you're capable of more than what you delivered this time around. Yeah. Okay, I guess you had to be harder on
Mhm.
yourself. I mean, I've done my part as a teacher. And I'm gonna give you the tips and tricks to elevate your performance, but you need to do something about the way that you practice and like, conquer ideas. Because I really felt like you were completely out of your element, although you were being very like candid and authentic, which was a plus. Oh, okay. Now a few mistakes here.
Mhm.
Developing stage, sorry, the first one, integrity of what it used to be. That was a weird word choice. It felt completely out of place. You, you know, you could not stop there. You definitely needed to, like, grab the bull by the horns and, explain, what you meant by the word integrity. It didn't make any sense to me, to be honest. And
Mhm.
for most examiners, you're gonna lose them with that word. All right, the last part. I think the last part in the third question, would you recommend other people to come and live in your hometown? The last bit of your answer for that question was exceptionally blurry. I could not make out what you were saying at all.
Mm.
Sorry, not Tang. Well, yeah, your notes. Quiet places. Quiet, not quiet places. Oh my God, there's something wrong with this stupid app. Quiet places. Developing stage would be better than developing state. There is not
Mhm.
much, there are not much. I think that, this was like the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion, because in the first part of the test, you already showed signs of like not settling with one grammar choice. You were going back and forth between two structures, which were equally accurate and viable, right? There was no reason to do that. Make the atmosphere more hyping. Oh, that was a poor word choice. More lively or livelier, more vibrant, right? More fun, something like that. Down here, the home of someone you know. I think that you said as far as I remembered, but honestly, I couldn't quite work out what, the second word was. So as far as something or another, can you say that phrase again?
As far as I remember.
As far as I remember. One
Mhm.
more time.
As far as I remember. Yeah.
Okay. Tucked on a quiet street, I think the more natural collocation would be in, to be tucked in. And also, it's just that maybe it's, a matter of experience, but I've never come across this particular expression. You can say tucked in a quiet alley. That makes perfect sense. But I've never come across, the combination of tucked in and street, right? And then your speech was also pretty unclear in the second half of wait, hold on, what was I saying again? Oh, okay. I think that your speech was also pretty unclear in the second half. And you said something about the cottage. What exactly were you saying?
Well, I think I chose the wrong word. I I should have stuck with the word house rather than phrasing it as a cottage.
Well, I don't care. I just wanted to know what the adjective that you use to describe it.
Mhm. In a really
Something
I,
cottage,
uh,
like,
I, mm, I don't remember much, but what I remember is, I would say, I'm quite absent-minded to be honest. I
okay,
would
well, that's
say,
not a good sign.
yeah.
Um, I mean, it
Mm.
happens from time to time. I mean, when you do a test and you really have to think on your feet, sometimes the moment you leave the test room, your memory is wiped clean, right? But oftentimes I just don't think that it's a good thing because in a way, it shows that you did not control what you said at all, which was not a good
Mhm.
thing. What stuck in my mind? I think that you said something about what sprang to mind.
Mm. I
Maybe
mean, I I rephrase it as what stick to my mind. I mean that it is quite memorable. Yeah. What I
not
mean
a
is that
common phrase in my opinion.
uh-huh. Okay.
Maybe what stuck with me, what really stuck with me would be better. My mind.
Mm,
And I can't say that the phrase is wrong. It's just that it sort of, pinged on my radar for all the wrong reasons. So you might want to double check on that phrase and make sure you don't get it wrong
mm,
again.
mm,
Or weird. Perhaps it's not wrong, it's just weird. Tree and then. Um, you see, this particular part was so unclear. I couldn't really work out what you were saying. You talked about the fact that, you know, um, essentially on the premises of your hold on, your uncle, there were
mhm.
trees and what?
I would say a climbing ivy. Yeah,
A what?
a climbing ivy.
Climbing ivy? As
Yeah,
in,
an ivy tree. Yeah, it's a
um,
plant.
okay, well, I don't know much about plants, so I get to say that I'm out of my depth here. I'm not quite sure if this is the most common way to
Mhm,
describe ivy. I don't even know how to use the word ivy outside the fact that, it comes in a phrase like Ivy League, the Ivy League. The plant itself, I am aware of the fact that, ivy is a plant, but I'm not quite sure how to use it, to be honest. So I wanted to double check on this word.
mhm,
Go to thick and thin. Right. This is a very nice idiom, but you sort of misused it. If you describe, someone or, some companies, as, going through thick and thin, oftentimes like it's something to say about their past. So you can
mhm,
say that, they went through thick and thin together.
mhm,
Um, I don't think that I've ever heard of this phrase being used to describe, companies. People, yes, but not companies. I would recommend this phrase instead. The company was going through a rough patch, or was having a rough year, or was having a tumultuous time, something like that. Hmm. And also personal touches. I mean, grammatically speaking, you were correct to use the plural form there, but it's just that I think that the singular form is more popular. Yeah, like a personal touch, not personal touches. Okay, well, that was it for part two. For part three, as you can see here, my main issue with your speaking part three answers was the fact that they were so inaccurate. Oh my God, you could not make up your mind at all. And because you were going back and forth, it really, pissed me off. It really got on my nerves because like your pronunciation was a tad clearer here, but your like grammatical discipline was essentially thrown out the window. So you will see notes like if I don't think that stutter naturally. So this was a clear sign of your lack of control. Well, what can I say? I did say that your answers were horrible, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, well then I've said it again, right? That's all. Any question?
Well, I would say that sometimes my thought is a little bit slow, to be honest, and I
Okay.
cannot come up with ideas as quickly as I can. So I mean, even in writing, I often use a lot of time just to think out one to two ideas. And although I can type really fast, I think that's a problem for me right now. I just cannot think ideas like uh, um, immediately. I mean, it often takes me at least about 1 to 2 minutes to come up with a complete idea. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's I think that's my problem right now.
Are you sure that's a real problem or just an excuse for your answers today?
I think it's a real problem.
Okay,
Even when
fine.
some answers that I have prepared in advance, when I practice when I close my notes, Yeah, I prepare a notes on OneNote, and when I close my notes and I run the wheel my questions, I just start one again. Yeah, I just start again. So I think for the supporting sessions, I will change all these into speaking. I need to work much more on that. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I have mentioned, some points a couple of times. So I'm definitely gonna ask you questions concerning them. The first is, have you ever repeated any ideas?
Repeated mean like just answering this question again.
Well, there are two levels to repetition. The first one is that you repeat the same answer for the same question. And the second level is to, repeat the same idea, but in different contexts. Have you made any attempts
Different
at doing that?
contexts here. I mean, I never tried using in different contexts. I mean,
Level
different
one
question.
then.
Yeah,
Level
different
one.
question. Yeah, different questions in one context, like in one topic. I recycle the ideas, but
No,
in
no, no,
the
no, 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 no. The first level that I mentioned was repeating the same ideas for the same questions. For instance, if I ask you about your hometown today, you give me one answer. If you do repeat the content, then when I ask you the same question next week or 1 month from now, you're going to give me essentially the same answer.
the same answer. I've often do so during my one take because I often spend about 30 minutes just answering one topic. And when I feel I'm wrong, I will repeat again and again. So I feel that I am quite smooth with this answer. And then I will
That
move on
doesn't
to
seem to
the
address my question though.
right.
It's very
If
simple, not simple. I'm not offending you or anything. I'm not implying anything. It's just that I have you have to be clear because I'm being like binary here. It's either yes or no. There's no in between. I feel like the more you tread in the gray area, the less likely you're gonna be able to, get out of your ways, essentially. So my question is for the same question, have you ever repeated the things that you say? Or is there like a new variation every single time?
in one day, yes, but in 1 week it may be different. In one day.
Then
I mean
perhaps
in
it
one
means that you lack discipline over a long period of time. Okay, well then that's the answer for the first question. Sorry, Tang. I mean, I really have to cut to the chase here. I cannot afford to let you beat around the bush because I did that when I was younger as well. Okay, let's continue to the next level. Have you ever like repeated ideas in different contexts?
different context. Different context, no. No.
Okay, so essentially what you are lacking sorely, in my opinion, is a sense of discipline and also a sense of, how should I say this? Like you need to have some faith in the ideas that you have used, and you must trust your ability to convey them so that you can go over them again and again in different contexts. I know that it's you know, a rather counter interesting to say for someone of your caliber, because I guess, you were in that like English team, one thing or another. Essentially, you have certainly done your fair share of work in learning English and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. It's just that after a certain level, we don't care about your range anymore because it's taken for granted, quite literally. They're not going to care about how wide your vocabulary bank is, or how many grammatical structures you can use. It's all about whether or not you can, cover a nice range of words and grammar structures in an accurate way. right? And in my opinion, you cannot improve accuracy if you're not willing to repeat. If every single time you answer a question is a completely a new idea, then but there's value to that approach. It's just that it does not allow you to work on your precision, right? So I think that's quite a perennial problem. You need to do something about that. Because in my opinion, even in some of the rather random phrases in speaking part 3, you could have gone through them with a higher level of accuracy, but you essentially broke them into very, very small chunks of words. Yeah, so for me, it boils down to your discipline, not your range, not your range at all, not your, you know, not your lexical resources, not your grammatical structures. It's about your discipline. Okay. Well, that's some food for thought then. Any question?
I think no more.
Okay. Now we're gonna go through some of the sample answers, and I think that there are points to these answers. Okay. For the first topic, hometown, I would say that this is a rather typical topic, and what you need to bear in mind is that you definitely need to make a very positive first impression. It doesn't mean that you have to use fancy words right out the gate because it's going to sound very forced and strange, but you definitely need to demonstrate that you are, first of all, capable of speaking, at length quite effortlessly. That is the description of Band 8. So you do that. And my suggestion is that, look, there are only like 12 questions that you can definitely see coming. So you need to, I guess, prepare in a way and make sure that you know exactly what you need to say when you're asked these questions. Like the first impression is oftentimes something that can make or break your test, right? I don't think that examiners are just gonna give you like, the finest score right away because that would be very unprofessional. But like if you have a poor start, it's really hard to come back from that. Okay. So for topics like hometown, accommodation, study, and work, I think there are only like 12 like legendary questions. Make sure that you get a firm grasp of whatever it is that you want to say when you ask questions in these topics. Okay. And for uncommon topics like quiet places, or lakes, or rivers, or gardens and parks, trees, so on and so forth, you can um you can shift the focus to flexibility and fluency instead. Like you don't really have to use big words there, but you definitely need to demonstrate the ability to extend your ideas effortlessly. But of course, that does not include listing, right? You need to discuss, you need to add details, you need to, extend your answers in an appropriate way. Now, let's talk about appropriate extensions. We have some sample answers here. I'm gonna read the questions and you're gonna read the answers, okay? And also pay attention to your chunking and your speed. Don't get carried away. Is your area quiet?
I would say so. I'm living in a small apartment with my mom. It's slightly run down, but what's great about the building is that it's surrounded by big, leafy trees, which help to block out the noise. So it's pretty peaceful, even though the building is located next to a big road.
That did not sound natural at all. You went overboard with the emphasis on words. Let's do it again. Is your area quiet?
Well, I'd say so. I mean, I'm living in a small apartment with my mom. It's slightly run down, but what's great about the building is that it's surrounded by big leafy trees, which help to block out the noise. So it's pretty peaceful, even though the building is located next to a big road.
Leafy, I did not catch that. Say that again.
Leafy.
Leafy, not livid, leafy trees.
Leafy trees. Okay.
Let's do it again. But what's great about the building is that it's surrounded by big leafy trees, which help to block out the noise.
But what's great about the building is that it's surrounded by big leafy trees, which help to block out the noise.
Let's continue. Do you prefer to study and work in a quiet or noisy place?
I will actually, well, I would go with the former. In the past, I used to live studying at noisy places because I often studied with my friends. We would rendezvous at a point coffee shop in Old Water every week to revise. But as an adult, I find it really hard to concentrate when there are other people chatting next to me.
Let's do that one more time. Well, I would go with the former.
Well, I would go with the former. Well, I would go with the former. In the past, I used to like studying at noisy places because I often studied with my friends. We would rendezvous at a popular coffee shop in Old Water every week to revise. But as an adult, I find it really hard to concentrate when there are other people chatting next to me.
Slightly better. Let's continue. Do you prefer to go to quiet or noisy places in the evening?
I would actually rather the latter. You see, I tend to teach in the evening, so I don't get to spend time in crowded places that often. Whenever I have time off in the evening, I always go to a bay, shopping mall, or nice restaurant. The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
Hmm. What do you remind me of? I feel like I've encountered this sort of issue before with someone else. I can't quite place it for the time being. I'd like you to do it again. Um, in general, your pronunciation, how should I say this? Like if I really concentrate, it's clear. It's clear. But the moment my focus wanes, everything starts to blend in together. I'm not quite sure why, to be honest. It's not that your volume is, too small or anything. I could hear you perfectly, but I couldn't quite make out what you were enunciating at times.
Mhm.
I think that
Okay,
I said the same thing last week. How can
enunciation.
we fix this? How can we fix this? Well, do it again, I
Enunci-
guess. Do you prefer to go to quiet or noisy areas in the evening?
I actually rather the latter. You see, I tend to teach in the evening, so I don't get to spend time in crowded places that often. Whenever I have time off in the evening, I always go to a big shopping mall or a nice restaurant. The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
Hmm. The last sentence. Do that again. The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
The life. I need
Life,
to hear that F a bit more clearly. One more time.
okay? So the comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
The city life.
The city
There was
life,
something wrong with the way that
life.
that word was stressed and stretched. Do that again. The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
Mm.
Life, life,
One more
life,
time.
life. Okay. The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
Slightly better. Last sentence again. The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
The comings and goings of people make me feel like I'm part of the fun city life as well.
not quite satisfied there. Let's
Life,
proceed.
life.
Do you
Okay.
think Vietnamese people enjoy living in noisy areas?
I don't know for a fact. I suppose it depends.
I
Some people,
suppose. I
I suppose.
suppose it depends.
Yeah. I don't know for a fact. I suppose it depends. Young people probably would enjoy it because they might find this environment dynamic and fun, whereas older adults may appreciate somewhere more peaceful so that they can rest, especially after a hard day of work.
Well, it was clearer but not natural. I don't think
Unnatural.
that you would naturally speak with that particular pace. Let's do that again. Do you think that Vietnamese people enjoy living in noisy areas?
I don't know for a fact. I suppose it depends. Young
I
people,
suppose.
I suppose,
I could not catch the ending sound at all.
yeah, yeah. I don't know for a fact. I suppose it depends. Young people probably would enjoy it because they might find this environment dynamic and fun, whereas older adults may appreciate somewhere more peaceful so that they can rest, especially after a hard day at work.
Hmm. Still can't quite put a finger on what your pronunciation issues are.
I have a question. I
Yes.
tend I tend to link sounds a lot, like I suppose it depends. Is
I
that a
suppose it depends.
yeah, I tend to link sound a lot, like I suppose it depends, rather than enunciating quite clearly that I suppose it depends.
Well, I don't think that you had any issue with linking sounds. I thought that your connected speech was fine. My
Yeah.
issue was the fact that you did not even link these sounds.
Ah,
I couldn't tell the S there. You said, I suppose it depend, right?
yeah, I suppose it depends. I suppose it depends.
I
I think
suppose it depends.
okay, I suppose it depends.
Hmm.
I suppose it depends. Mhm. Is it
Hmm.
better? A
It's
tad?
better, but like, there is something not quite right about the way that you pronounce. I can't seem to put a finger on it. Oh my God. You know what? For the time being, because of my inability to diagnose your pronunciation issues, my recommendation for you is shadowing. My favorite talk show hosts are Wendy Williams and Oprah Winfrey, right? And I think that the way that I speak is also heavily influenced by these two ladies. So, well, I recommend you to watch their videos and perhaps try to enunciate the same way that they do. Of course, you can choose other talk show hosts or musicians who are very eloquent in real life. I wouldn't recommend Ellen DeGeneres mostly because of the fact that she and like Jimmy Fallon tend not to finish the sentences. Jimmy Kimmel would be a better host to imitate. Conan O'Brien is brilliant as well, but the way that he speak is really sophisticated. Although it tends to sound very simple, but I think that it's really hard for you to copy the way that he speaks. So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I would recommend shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay.
Yeah. You can
So
perhaps practice dictation. Not that it's an exciting activity to do, but personally, I think that the problem with like just with shadowing on its own is that you can't really remember anything because you just need to repeat and what other people say. You don't really have to, put in the work of writing words down and checking whether or not you're getting the right grammar or the right word forms. So if you just repeat and imitate the way that someone speaks, you're gonna they forget what they say almost immediately or the way that they say it. So dictation and shadowing would be a very good combination, but of course, it's hella boring. especially for someone of your caliber.
Dictation.
But for the time being, I do recommend you to practice dictation and shadowing. I mean, I feel like when it comes to, shadowing, what's great about it is that you're imitating native speakers, and like sometimes you can't quite pinpoint what the issue is, but you know that it's there, and there's only one way to overcome issues like that. Well, first of all, you can perhaps seek a different kind of professional help from another professional, because as you can see, my hands are tied. My back is against the wall. I can't really put your issue into words. I can only tell you that there's something wrong with the way that you pronounce words, and it's
Uh,
holding you back.
mhm. I have
Or
a
you can
question.
try shadowing.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Should I go back to the most basic things? Do you think so?
No, no. You're way past that point. The issue now is that like you need to, I don't know, follow the footsteps of those who are really good at speaking. Perhaps not me, because you've been speaking to me a couple of weeks and you still haven't like picked up anything from the way that I speak. So perhaps we're not a good match. But then you can copy other people. Perhaps not me, but perhaps a good talk show host. There's something wrong with the
Oh,
way that you pronounce words. But it's not, the issue is not clearly manifested when you pronounce individual words. That's the issue. Because if you go back to, let's say, square one and learn everything, well, that's fine. But I don't think that, you know, your pronunciation is that horrible. It's just that when you piece the words together, it gets very blurry at times. Yeah. So no, I don't need you to do that. Perhaps try to apply dictation and shadowing. Yeah. I did that in the past. Okay.
mhm.
But as far as I'm concerned, shadowing can only take you as far as a 7 in speaking, because it helps to fix some of the theoretical issues that, only show when you are doing things in a passive way, like reading scripts aloud. When you speak, which is a more, active activity, um, I feel like you need a different kind of like, you know, processes at the back of your mind. Well, well, that's something to think about, right?
Mhm.
As for the sample answers here, I think what I'm trying to show you is that essentially, you should definitely try to add more details to your answers, which is something you can already do. It's just that every once in a while, you tend to, end things on a weird note, which means that, examiners might ask you additional questions for you to clarify your points. Um, is there anything that I need to note down here? Oh, okay. Every once in a while, you can use phrases like this. What's great about the building? What's fantastic about this place? What's really nice about the area? Words like that, because um, you can use structures like that to help out to sort of like diversify your grammatical structures. Okay. It's better than, being a one-trick pony and, only saying things like I, or he, right? You can sort of mix things up a little bit with these structures. One thing that I really like about this place is what is really special about this area is you don't have to, go above and beyond when saying these phrases. Like, of course, there are words far fancier than, nice and best, but, these words are good enough. Okay. Down here, rendezvous is a very nice phrase. Um, but because of the fact that, it's an advanced word, you have to be more meticulous when it comes to its usage. Do you prefer to go to quiet or noisy areas in the evening? The comings and goings of people, I like this phrase. Yeah. You can talk about, the atmosphere of public location, like, a shopping mall, or the cinema, something like that. Right? And you can refer to the fact that, these places are very crowded and lively because of the comings and goings of people. Down here, young people probably would enjoy it because they might find this environment a lot of fun, whereas other adults might appreciate somewhere more peaceful so they can rest, especially after hard at work. Okay, fine. I suppose these answers demonstrate that you need to add details, right? And you have to do so in an effortless way. Let's continue then. We're going to move on to speaking part 2. And from this, well, no, not from this, but from the beginning of this lesson, you've been seeing like authentic answers. Now, have a read, please. So today I'm going to talk about
So today I'm going to talk about my student house. Okay, so should I start one more time? Should I
Sure.
restart? Okay,
Yeah.
so today I'm going to talk about my student's house. As I've mentioned, I'm working as a freelance teacher and I do teach offline classes. So one of the classes is held in my student's house somewhere in Long Biên district. It's in a gated community with lots of privacy, and you actually have to contact the owner of the house to get in. I mean, I personally don't really know the way to get there since I'm not a good driver. And whenever I come, I have to order a Grab car to pick me up. It's pretty nice though, since I don't have to brace the elements. Yeah, I really F up with the pronunciation again because I missed the K.
You missed a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But well, that's the spirit.
Yeah.
I'd like you to read the script twice. So if you mess up the first time, just keep on forward, and then you can return and do it again.
Okay, so I come to this place twice every week since I have a class on Tuesday and another on Thursday. What I like about this house is that it's really spacious and well decorated. I also really appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner, which is crucial in the current summer heat that is in full swing. So we often have classes in the kitchen because there are a lot of chairs and a gigantic table in the center. The room is huge and it's convenient for the kids when they need a cup of water or something like that. The house itself is very well designed. There are elements that I like, such as the color of on the walls, which is a deep shade of blue. Then there are lots of paintings, which were painted by the kid himself. One thing that stood out for me though was
One thing that stood out for me though was, okay, I'd like you to do it again. Your rhythm was a bit messy or robotic. I mean, it was either of these two cases. Do it again.
Okay, one more time. So today I'm going to talk about my student's house. As I have mentioned, I'm working as a freelance teacher and I do teach offline classes. So one of the classes is held in my student's house somewhere in the Long Biên district. It's in a gated community with lots of privacy, and you actually have to contact the owner of the house to get in. I mean, I personally don't really know the way to get there since I'm not a good driver, and whenever I come, I have to order a Grab car to pick me up. It's pretty nice though, since I don't have to brave the elements. So I come to this place twice every week since I have a class on Tuesday and another on Thursday. What I like about the house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated. I also really appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner, which is crucial in this current summer heat that is in full swing. So we often have classes in the kitchen because there are lots of chairs and a gigantic table in the center. The room is huge and it's convenient for the kids when they need a cup of water or something like that. The house itself is very well designed. There are elements that I like, such as the color on the walls, which is a deep shade of blue. And then there are lots of paintings which were painted by the gift himself. One thing that stood out for me though was blah 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 blah. So I noticed that I knew already that the word well decorated, I put the wrong stress. So it felt like I was out of breath. And over the phrase that is in full swing, as far as I remember, it felt like I was out of breath as well. It felt like that. Although I know that I was not out of breath at the time, but it felt like I was out of breath. Mhm.
You're splitting hairs. Doesn't matter. The words were pronounced unclearly. Let's do that again. What I like about this house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated. So I do think that you need to sort of just breathe out as you speak. I'm not quite sure if you hold your breath when you speak English, but I don't know, maybe that's something for you to do.
Yeah, and I want to
Well,
to share about one problem here is that um sometimes when even in English and Vietnamese, whenever I talk about for about why, and so sometimes I couldn't even manage to pronounce a word because even though I know what it is, I know the IPA.
no, okay, that's fine, that's fine. We're not talking about the same thing here. I understand that feeling. I mean, every now and then you feel like even though you're bilingual, your languages are not accessible, either of your languages. That's a perfectly not common phenomenon, but I'm pretty sure that all language learners have experienced that issue. Do not try to blend the barriers here. No, what I'm trying to tell you is that you should just breathe the word out. Well decorated. I
Well
also really
decorated.
appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner, which is crucial in this current summer heat that is in full swing. Like,
That is full
you
swing.
need to breathe the words out. I mean, what you mentioned is totally, I guess, valid, but that was not what I was referring to. And you need to stop moving the goalposts. If I tell you to fix something, fix it. Wait, hold on. Why am I being so mean? Sorry, fix it.
I mean like yeah, you were right this time. Sometimes even some sentences I feel like then I'm this way spacious and then well decorated. It's just like it feels like I'm losing my breath. Yeah, so I think I need to work on my chunk. Okay, I will read these two sentences one more time. What I like about this house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated.
Hmm. There's something wrong about that word. Well decorated. Well
Well,
decorated.
yeah, I will read the sentence one more time. What I like about this house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated.
I noticed
Well,
that you don't stress any word. You don't stretch any words.
mhm.
Hmm. Let's do it again. What I like about this house, what I like about this house.
Mhm. What I like about this house is that it's really
Hold on.
spacious.
No. What I like about this house is the fact that
Okay. What I like about this house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated.
oh no. The last bit is really spacious. It's really spacious and
It's
well
really
decorated.
mm, mhm. What I like one more time. What I like about this house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated.
No, you did not pronounce that word correctly. Well decorated. Well decorated. Five sounds.
Yeah. What I like about this house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated.
No.
Like,
You did not enunciate the fourth sound, the fourth syllable. Well decorated. Rated.
yeah, well decorated,
One more
well
time.
decorated, well decorated. Now let's Read one more time. What I like about this house is the fact that it's really spacious and well decorated.
I also really appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner.
I also really appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner.
No, how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner.
How I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner.
Which is crucial in this current summer heat that is in full swing.
Which is crucial in this current summer heat that is in full swing.
One more time. I also really appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner, which is crucial in this current summer heat that is in full swing.
I also really appreciate, sorry, one more time. I also really appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner, which is crucial in this current summer heat that is in full swing.
It sounded a bit weird. One more time.
I also really appreciate how I'm welcomed by the nice air conditioner, which is crucial in this current summer heat that is in full swing.
Okay. Well, I still can't quite put a finger on what your issues are. I know that they're there. It's just that for the time being, I can't seem to give you the most accurate diagnosis. Anyway, let's continue. Well, for this particular script here, as you can tell, and the first paragraph is not at all about this house, right? So this is just a typical idea.
Mhm.
I say this all the time. I mean, for some of my other tests, I was given other questions concerning a trip or a location far from home. And I always said something like this. Essentially, I didn't know the way to get there, so I had to, place an online order for a Grab bike driver to come and pick me up. And I also said, I also tend to say things about, the weather. Like, in some, scripts, I would say something like, well, that was actually not exactly a good day. I felt like I had, got up on the wrong side of the bed, but, you know, it was kind of gloomy, when I got out of the house. And then, there was this like massive rain, which caused, a huge traffic congestion, near the place that I, was going to. And personally, I didn't mind braving the elements because I had my raincoat with me, but my pants were drenched, so it was very uncomfortable. And I wanted to make a beeline for the place, but apparently things didn't work out as planned. See that? Like I have ideas like that, and like I use them every once in a while, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to like tap into these ideas and use them fully, as you can tell, well, as evidenced by this particular paragraph here. But I'm always willing to mix and match things together instead of just speaking off the cuff. Right? So that's something that I recommend you to do as well. If you can really just freestyle and go through ideas that you essentially know by heart, that's a good sign. Right? So this is a typical script essentially. Let's continue. So I come to this place twice a week since I have a class on Tuesday and another on Thursday. What I like about this house is the fact that here, so this is a very nice phrase. It's one of the structures you can use to, again, diversify your grammatical structures. And you can also sort of like direct people's attention to what you really want to want to emphasize. I mean, you don't have to do that all the time. It's just that, it's very similar to like the way that you approach writing task one. Like when you describe maps or processes, for instance, like passive structures tend to prevail naturally. But if you don't control your like structures, you're going to end up like writing only one type of structure, which is definitely not a good thing for your grammatical range and accuracy points, right? So you need to like switch things up every once in a while. And for speaking, I feel like, these are the ultimate phrases when it comes to like diversifying your, the structures, right? So try to use them. There are other variations with fancier idioms, but I'm pretty sure you can, work them out on your own. It's just that you need to use them a bit more often. Yeah, so we often have classes in the kitchen because there are lots of chair and a gigantic table in the center. Well, you know what? From this point on, this is really topic specific, the whole thing. Topic, oh, sorry. Oh, topic specific. Yeah. So I was improvising during the the latter half of the speech, but I was in my element that day, so I was able to wing it. But I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that like there's nothing wrong with using like typical ideas as you navigate like speaking part two topics. There's also nothing wrong with speaking naturally using your authentic ideas. It's just that like you have to weigh the pros and cons of both of these approaches. I mean, when you use typical ideas, you may sound a bit robotic and a bit forced, but at the end of the day, I feel like it just boils down to how much practice you have with these ideas. Which means if you start early, you're going to be able to cover all the bases and get a lot more work done. And somewhere down the line, you'll be able to just randomly pick the strand of ideas that makes sense to you, right? Now, speaking naturally is something that I feel like you have already been able to do, entering this course with the score that you got. But I feel like one major pitfall of speaking naturally is that you don't really force yourself to speak with the same level of discipline as when you have to go through the same idea again and again. And for me, you have already ticked out all the boxes when it comes to like natural speaking. Yeah, we know that you're natural now. Now what? Right? Where's your accuracy? Where's your fluency? Where's your ability to control your word choices and grammar structures? Right? So think about that. And I mean, you've had lessons with me for let's say roughly 2 months, or between 1 and 2 months. Am I right?
Mm, this one is my fourth speaking lesson.
Okay, 1 month then.
1
Then
month.
I don't think that you can make a quantum leap in just 1 month because it did happen to me. Um, but I don't know, you need to get going. You need to get the ball rolling in one way or another because I feel like I've been repeating myself for the past 4 weeks, and essentially you're still giving me the same answer. You don't repeat, you don't have typical ideas, you don't control your grammatical structures. I mean, it's not a big deal. People need a lot more practice over a longer period of time to actually make quantifiable improvements. But I guess what is being shown here is that you have not really, taken the necessary step, according to my advice. Well, that's all. Any question?
I have a question.
Okay.
Mhm. So for speaking part two, if I use like for almost every year, like I mean I often use one person to refer to when I to describe during multiple tests a person, a set of idea about a person I often refer to. So is it the correct way, like repeating ideas?
Kinda.
Kinda.
You essentially can talk about the same person in different contexts.
Same person in different contexts.
Mm.
So for the person topics, I have been using the same person for some questions like describing an intelligent person, describing as far as I remember, describing intelligent is describing a creative person, and some other topics that are of the same like that. But is this the correct way for me to do so?
Hmm. Well, um, I don't think that these topics are that different inherently. So
Inherently.
if you're, yeah, if you're using the same person for these topics, I think that it's fine. But the real challenge comes when you're given a different topic, a completely different topic. For instance, can you talk about that person in conjunction with, a topic about a place that you have visited? You know, that's the issue.
So I think I'm on the wrong track here. I think I need to change.
Okay.
Wrong track. I think well, I think I will need some a little bit of inspiration in terms of speaking, because for writing, I mean, I can sit like for about 5 to 6 hours just to draft and write, but I don't have the same like 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 fire or motivation when it comes to speaking. I think that's what matters me most.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Mhm.
not quite sure if I can give you that. I mean, you might want to consult someone else, someone who's trending on threads.
Um, I the reason I choose why I choose you is that you are not trendy at all.
You know what?
You're not trendy at all. I prefer to work with those who are not really like popular on the internet, but I know that is professional.
Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
that subtle jab. Well, I was trending at one point a few months ago. I shared the pictures of the English test for the high school kids, and it got 5,000 likes or
On
hearts
the
or something or another.
on threads.
Yes.
I think that
It's
the
it's
the,
water
the
under the bridge at this point, and it was like tongue in cheek. But
uh,
well, yeah, I was trending. I may not look like someone who can be like, viral on the internet, and well, obviously the size of this class seems to support that. But I was trending once, right? Don't make light of me.
mhm.
Well, do what you must, get to grips with it then. Now
Mhm.
we're gonna move on. Just gonna ask you a little bit about whether the original topic, the original script here, can be used to talk about these topics. Describe a place you would like to visit. Can I talk about my student's house?
I think for the typical ideas, I would use it in a place would like to visit. I think I would modify it a little bit, like as you know, I'm a freelancer, and I often have too much time for myself because I have to be in charge of a lot of classes or
What
something
are
like
you
that.
talking about? Hold on. What are you rambling on and on about?
Yeah, I mean that for the typical use, it can be used for the place you would like to visit. And what I have mentioned here is that if I were to use these ideas, I would make a little bit of adjustments. I still mention that the typical ideas of being a teachers and having to take to teach a lot of classes or something like that. So it means that yes, I mean these are my proposed modifications when it comes to this topic.
Okay, well, thanks for the input, although I did not ask for all that. Well, the thing about this particular script is that there are two types of ideas, right? The first one is a typical idea regarding my inability to make any independent trip, especially in areas that are very complicated with lots of roads and alleys and whatnot. So I have this tendency to just, ask someone to pick me up and take me there. That's the first typical idea. And the second here is related to my work. The second type of idea is actually related to my work and the description of this house. I would say, in my opinion, sure, you can use, the bit about, my work as a freelance teacher, or essentially some ideas regarding your professional background. That's fine. But I personally think that I can only use the first part of this particular script. I can probably use the second part as well, but I need to make a bit more adjustments. Like, I might need to say something like, well, I've never come to the place, but some of my students have been there, and they've told me that the place, the house is always cool because of the fact that it has a very big like central air conditioner. And I think that is a very lovely thing to have, especially in this current summer heat that is in full swing, right? So perhaps 50% and then 50% and then 40% with adjustments. Right? So I agree with you. It's just that I'm thinking about this particular script only. I'm not talking about other ideas.
Describe an old building that you want to see with your family. I would say maybe 40 to 50%, especially for the typical ideas. But for the topic specific idea, you can say I can say it's for 70% of the topic specific idea and 40% of the typical ideas that is mentioned in the script.
An old building. Well, sure. I mean, there are elements that I like. I think the main issue with these two topics is that, well, inherently, these two topics talk about like buildings that I have never been to. So that obviously clashes with the nature of this particular answer, which is created based on the fact that I have paid this place a visit. Right? Yeah, so some adjustments must be made here. But in my opinion, I think that I can use the first typical idea in its like full totality. Yeah, I mean, perhaps I won't. Yeah, I do agree that I can't use the classes part. Right. I would say that this building is in a gated community, so on and so forth, and I would focus more on this part, like how I would go there. Okay, some inspiration. We're gonna move on to speaking part 3, and okay, we have some very nice sample answers with specific points here. Hold on. Okay. What types of homes are common here in Vietnam?
The first would be normal houses or private mansions. Yeah, and Mr. T. Depending on where you live, this type of property can be relatively cheap or cost a fortune. For instance, fortune. For instance, if you buy houses in the city center, chances are you will have to pay a lot more than when purchasing an apartment.
One more time. What types of homes are common here in Vietnam?
The first would be normal houses or private mansions. Depending on where you live, this type of property can be relatively cheap or cost a fortune. For instance, if you buy houses in the city center, chances are you have to pay a lot more than when you purchase, than when purchasing an apartment.
Mm. The last bit was still slightly unnatural. One more time. For instance, if you buy houses in the city center, you did not stretch any word.
Yeah, for instance, if you buy houses in the city center, chances are you have to pay a lot more than when purchasing an apartment.
Well, yours, I wonder if there was a technical issue, but your sound was pixelated. One more time, for instance.
For instance, if you buy houses in the city center, chances are you have to pay a lot more than when you're purchasing an apartment.
How much more expensive?
Uh, you will have to pay a lot more than when purchasing. Okay, next question, sorry. Well, I would guess by a large amount. If I'm not mistaken, a house near the city, sorry, a house in near the city center can cost around $1 million, whereas an apartment is only half that.
Why are houses in that area expensive?
I suppose it's because it's like the nexus of business and cultural activities. There's a huge amount of traffic, and any building there can serve as a business venue, like a store, or perhaps something as big as a shopping mall. Then big companies that construct and sell property might also pull the strings to make it seem like the property is highly coveted. I'm not sure about last word though.
Your pronunciation was kind of all over the place. I mean, you demonstrate the ability to stretch important words, but it was a fleeting moment. It was very transient. So you need to be more consistent with that. And some of the words were pronounced in a slightly unnatural way. For instance, when you say, hold on, where's that again? I suppose it's because it's like the nexus of business, the nexus. You say nexus, the nexus of business and cultural activities. There's a huge amount of traffic, and any building there can serve as a business venue, like a
Venue,
store, or perhaps something as big as a shopping mall. Shopping mall. Then
shopping mall,
big companies that construct and sell property might also pull the strings to make it seem like the property is highly coveted. Highly coveted. Coveted. Um, can't quite place it, but I think it has something to do with speed.
should I
No,
slow
no,
down
no,
my
no, 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 no,
tempo?
no, 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 no. That's not the aspect of speed I'm thinking about. It's the way that you go up and down and the speed with which you execute, no, these features of intonation. Let's do this one more time. Just repeat after me. Shadowing.
Hmm.
Why houses that are specific? Okay. I suppose, sorry.
This is,
I I suppose
I suppose
it's because
it's because
it's like the nexus of business
it's like the nexus of business
and cultural activities.
and cultural activities.
I suppose it's because, it's like the nexus of business and cultural activities.
I suppose it's because it's like the nexus of business and cultural activities.
There's a huge amount of traffic.
There's a huge amount of traffic.
One more time. There's a huge amount of traffic.
There's a huge amount of traffic.
And any building there,
And any building
stretch the word out a bit more,
there, there, and any building there
and serve as a business venue,
can serve as a business venue,
like a store,
like a store,
or perhaps something as big as a shopping mall.
or perhaps something as big as a shopping mall.
Then
Then
big companies that construct and sell property.
big companies that construct and sell property.
No, big companies that construct and sell property.
Big companies that construct and sell property
Might also pull the strings.
might also pull the string.
One more time. Might also pull the strings.
Might also pull the strings.
To make it seem like the property is highly coveted.
To make it seem like the property is highly coveted.
Okay. I have nothing to say with regard to the analysis of the intonation that I was modeling. But I suppose, that's something you can do to upgrade your pronunciation. You're clearly capable of, like, a wide range of phonological features. You know how to stress words, you know how to stretch certain important words. It's just that your rhythm is a bit off right now. But the concept of your speaking rhythm encompasses various facets, ranging from, well, your ability to pronounce individual words to your ability to speak in chunks of words, and also your intonation. So lots of things to take into consideration. Shadowing it is then. Let's continue. What are the benefits of living in a high-rise apartment?
Let's see. I feel that the most significant advantage of residing in a high-rise flat is privacy. And the reason here is that many apartment buildings place emphasis on security, controlling who can go in and out. So you will actually have to have a code or a special card that unlocks the doors before you can even reach the elevator. Yeah.
Ew, what was that? Why did you stretch virtually all the words out? Oh,
Yeah,
that was a bit
I
too
overdid
much.
it. Yeah, one
What
more
are the
time.
benefits of living in a high-rise apartment?
Let's say I feel that the most significant advantage of residing in a high-rise flat is privacy. The reason here is that many apartment buildings place emphasis on security, controlling who can go in and out. So you actually have to have a code or a special card that unlocks the
No,
doors.
okay. Way too sluggish. Why were you taking forever to cover these words? You were moving at a glacial pace. Let's do it again. The last bit. The first part was fine, but don't abuse, the ability to stretch words out, because sometimes talking way too slowly might be penalized as stalling for time, which is definitely not a good thing.
Okay.
You need to see the chunk of words. And when you go through a chunk, you can go through certain words a bit faster and stretch more important words out. So it should sound something like this. So you can stretch the so like that. So you breathe it out, right? So you would actually have to have a code. You would actually have to have a code, or a special card, or you don't say or a special card. You say or a special card that unlocks the doors before you can even reach the elevator,
Mhm.
right? It's not about dragging things out. You're misinterpreting what I'm saying here. One more time.
Let's see. I feel that the most
No, just the
significant.
last bit. The first part was fine.
Okay. So you I'm sorry, one more time. So you will actually have to have a code or special card that unlocks doors. Yeah, I messed up. One more time.
Mm.
So you will actually have to have a code or special card that unlocks the doors before you can reach the elevator.
That was a bit of a one-trick pony, or maybe it was what I was modeling, but I felt like it was a bit predictable. The rhythm was a bit like robotic.
Mm.
Let's do that again. So you
So
can do it with me. So
so
you would actually have to have a code.
you actually have to have a code.
That was a bit fast. You would actually have to have a code. You would actually have to have a code. Have to have a code.
Mm. So You actually have to have a code.
No. So you would actually have to have a code
So you will actually have to have a code
or a special card.
or a special card
That was a bit much. Or a special card
uh, or, or special card
that unlocks the doors
that unlocks the doors
before you can even reach the elevator.
before you can even reach the elevator.
One more time. So you would actually have to have a code or a special card that unlocks the doors before you can even reach the elevator.
So you will actually have to have a code or the special card that unlock the doors before you can even reach the elevator.
Well,
That's,
a
that's
lot of the
something.
ending sounds and a lot of the syllables were missed out on. One more time. So
So you will actually have to have a code or special card that unlocks the doors before you can reach the elevator.
elevator. I would still, well, I needed to get the out of the way.
Yeah.
Reach the elevator to
Yeah, to reach the elevator.
a bit too short.
Yeah, reach the elevator.
Okay. Next then, but that's not something all apartments have, right?
Oh yes, that's true.
What are some other advantages?
Well, I suppose you can also get a good view of the city. If you want to see the beautiful Central Park or the busy street downstairs, then a high-rise apartment can give you what you want, far away from the pollution and noises, of course.
That was horrible. One more time. Noises.
Noises, 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 noises. Okay. This.
So what are some other advantages?
Well, I suppose you can also get a good view of the city. If you want to see the beautiful Central Park or the busy street downstairs, then a high-rise apartment can give you what you want, far away from the pollution and noises, of course. Course. Noises. One more time.
One more time.
Well, I suppose, yeah, one more time. Well, I suppose you can also get a good view of the city. If you want to see the beautiful
Oh,
Central
the
Park
city?
or the
That's not how you pronounce the word city.
city,
Not city, that's fine, city. But then I felt you were using the
city,
word D, city,
city,
city. It has to be a t, one way or another. It has to be city with a very light T, or city with a T, clear T.
city. Okay. Well, I suppose you can also get a good view of the city. If you want to see the beautiful Central Park, one more time.
Mm.
Well, I suppose you can also get a good view of the city. If you want to see the beautiful Central Park or the busy street downstairs, then a high-rise apartment can give you what you want, far away from the pollution and noises, of course.
Okay. Anyway, so outside of the fact that you need to work on your pronunciation, which in my opinion is now the elephant in the room, what is shown through all these sample answers is that, well, my particular examiner was very interactive. She asked me like 10,000 questions from the original questions, right? So based on what I said, she came up with a few more questions, and the interaction was very organic. Like in this particular part here, what are the benefits of living in a high-rise apartment? I talked about the fact that for very quality modern apartments, you actually have to have like a special code to get in, right? And then she said, well, then not all apartments are that modern or technologically advanced. So I would say, yeah, that's true. It's perfectly fine for you to say something like that. Okay? And oftentimes, it's a good sign of fluency. But I feel like one of the main challenges here is that you might lose your rhythm and then start panicking, which is definitely gonna have an impact on your overall your confidence and also like the quality of your answers. But still, it's something that you can practice. And when you talk to other people, I feel like you get questions like this more often, in the speaking test. But what I'm trying to show you is that, well, this is the script of what I said a few months ago, in a test, and the examiner was highly engaging. I was almost surprised by the fact that, she was that engaging. She asked me all these questions and she did not hesitate when it came to, stopping me, midway. So yeah, well, this is an example of that. And I guess what is shown is that, well, yeah, you have to prepare for, questions like this in speaking part 3, but I'm sure that you're aware of it. The key point here is that you still need to maintain a high level of fluency and also accuracy, right? I got 9 for grammar and pronunciation, but only 8 for fluency and 9 for lexical resources. So I guess something was missing from the equation in terms of fluency. Perhaps I didn't exactly address her questions head on, or maybe I I made points that were not that clear. So, she deducted a point in that particular area. But still, this should give you somewhat of a sample of what might happen, right, in the speaking test. Okay, any question? That should be it for today's lesson.
I think none. So I just want to change the next supporting session with you from writing to speaking. Is that okay?
Oh no, sorry, I need to send everyone the the Excel file again.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you can
think
make adjustments there.
Yeah, I think I will need to focus much more on speaking from now on.
Okay, sure. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye.